guys, what up, what up? This is my mom. So my mom has been helping me. A few days ago I met a few French guys here in China and they are building their own business. So we had this idea that we wanted to I wanted to interview them a little bit to see how is it like building a business here in China. What is your honest opinion? The life in China, the future in China.
In China, you are your own brand and not your product.
Everyone wants to be their own boss.
They're not too much aware of the reality.
What is the biggest challenge? What do you think makes people in China willing to take more risk on that? Can you get a mortgage here to build business as a foreigner?
It has its bad side as well.
Can we talk about the bad side?
I'm a corgi.
Yeah.
Very it doesn't like corgi.
Yeah, you have to.
It doesn't like my corgi.
Why? Why it doesn't look like a corgi?
Because my corgi are quite aggressive.
Yeah.
You good?
Okay, yeah, that's my
Good?
mom.
Hello.
Hello. She's helping me to film today.
Yeah,
my
no problem.
assistant. First of all, let's introduce ourselves.
So, my name is Pierre. I'm from France, Paris, and I came to China 6 years ago. So the primary reason I came is to open a tennis academy, actually, which I'm still running now. And within these 6 years, I met both of my friends, and we had this idea to open Le Siège.
Hello, I'm Jerome number one.
You're number one.
I'm the wine Jerome. So actually, I arrived 7 years ago because I was hired by a big company, big wine company, to open an office in Chengdu. And it was quite a challenge for me because I had the choice to stay in France for a big wine company or to move in the unexpected in China, and I chose China at this young age. So I developed this company for 4 years, and after I opened my own company of wine, so importing wine. And because of this industry, I thought it was a good idea to mix wine and food with my friend Jerome, who is chef.
Okay.
And I'm Jerome too.
Number two.
And yeah, so I arrived 7 years ago in Chengdu.
Oh.
I've been a chef for many years, but including 7 years in Chengdu, in China. And yeah, so working for two big companies during those 7 years before. And we still have this feeling that there is something else we want to bring in Chengdu. We couldn't find about Western food. So we hope we can develop that and introduce something different we do not have yet in Chengdu.
While you're building the business in China, what is the biggest challenge for you guys?
Biggest challenge, I would say, is as a French, is to adapt to the Chinese market if you're completely unaware of what it looks like. Luckily enough for me, my partner in the tennis club is a Chinese guy. So I was able to learn from him and slowly adapt. But now we're all pretty much aware of what you can do and not do, and what do the Chinese expect, and stuff like this. But the biggest challenge as a foreigner who just arrives in China, who doesn't have any help from any local, is really, I think, to adapt to the culture and the expectation of the Chinese.
The other day when I had dinner here, and you were sharing with me like how you do business here. Sometimes you have to go for dinners, you have to actually adapt the Chinese culture, which is like drinking, right? You have to drink a lot. That is like how I understand the business culture here in China. Can you share a little bit of that?
All right, so like we are talking about challenge. So I think for me the biggest challenge, like developing your own business, is developing a good network. Because let's say like in France, for example, the quality of your product and the value of your product will speak for itself. In China, they are more building you are your own brand and not your product. So you have to develop your network, be friends, and it's not only in my industry, that is wine. So obviously drinking is a big part of it, but not only, I think in tennis as well, or in other like sector of industry, it's the same feeling. If you want to do business with Chinese, you need to be friends with them. So you have many opportunities to do that.
Do you think that is a good thing or bad thing?
Okay, when you are like full of ambition, when you are young, you want to do it, but it doesn't have to be that mandatory, I think.
I don't think it's a good or a bad thing, actually. I think it's the way it is. and it will never change. But actually, I think it's way easier. It's way easier in China than France.
Of course, easier than in France, because in France you need a lot of cash at the beginning.
Yeah.
And the construction takes like very longer. Like for example, a restaurant, you have a lot of taxes, and I think
In China too.
yes, but I think you cannot compare really.
I see.
Okay, in France, if you do open your own business, you really put your life savings in it. It's like a matter of life and death, right? So here, I think you can really see it going.
Can you get a mortgage here to build business as a foreigner?
If you have a wife, you can.
So do you have a wife here?
Not yet.
How about you?
I have a wife. I'm happily married for 5 years.
They are both able to get a mortgage.
Yes,
I am not.
Also, you also have a Chinese wife.
Yes,
Oh,
absolutely.
they're nice. Do you guys have kids?
Yes, I have one kid.
Me no.
No, no. Are you planning to have kids?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Sometime.
Yeah, oh, nice. How about you?
Many.
What do you think about the marketing here in China compared to Europe? Are people willing to pay more here in China?
I think for the F&B part, we will let the chef answer. Maybe he has more experience. But for me, like as in tennis, they are willing to pay more, but they have higher expectation. Even for very normal kids who like play once or twice a week, the parents are willing to put more money, but also they have way higher expectation than in France, where the parents just let the kid like kind of go and play, and
Okay.
there's not too much pressure.
So they're putting their kids to learn tennis, like in a way of want them to be the best or
be the best, that's for sure, but there's always a long-term goal, whether it's use tennis to go abroad in universities or sometimes even more unrealistic dreams like becoming a professional, and they're not too much aware of the reality.
Yeah, that is I think, as a Chinese kid who grew up in China, like we had many challenges like that. Parents always want something as the extension of themselves. I think a lot of, like, it happens everywhere, but like in China, I think it's, I just hope they can be like relaxed more. Maybe like from my generation, we can be a little bit more relaxed in our kids. Okay, so next question. Can you say that question again?
Like what do you guys get by being in China and doing business that you would not have in
In Europe. Okay, that is the next question. So, okay.
I would say we are married. For Jerome and myself, we are already married in Chengdu, and I think our wives, they have this part of the Chinese culture. Everyone want to be their own boss. They have really this entrepreneur culture, and which is really different with French people. That's my wife. I talk for myself. My wife bring me in this business. I'm really happy now. She really have this different point of view, which make her want to be her own boss. Okay.
That is actually something I feel, because I don't live in China anymore. But every time I come back, either meeting old friends or new friends, everybody's talking about building business. Like literally everyone. And this is something so different than how I feel when I live in Bali as well. Because in Bali, what we talk about going to the gyms, watch sunsets, and tennis, surf, and then which volcano you're gonna, climb next day. Nobody's really talking about business. But in China, I do feel like building a business, being an entrepreneur is such a big thing.
What you're saying is true, but amongst the young Chinese, like the 90后, after the 90s, like 90 and after, the majority of them don't want to work like a corporate job and climb the ladder very slowly and every 2 years ask for a raise. They are kind of, maybe it's due to the economic situation of China as well, but I know it's very true among young Chinese, 30 and under. They all want to do something by themselves.
Yeah, I think especially now also people are starting doing social media, building your personal brands. You just see so many opportunities of like, rather than working for somebody, I can actually build something else on my own and make more money and have more freedom, right? So you were talking about like, it's very different than people in France. So really? What is the mentality over there?
I do not see the opportunity like you said. I understand the business, I understand the market, but I don't have this culture.
There is like a specificity in like Sichuan. I think the women in Sichuan are very strong. They are very this entrepreneur mindset,
Yeah.
and usually you can see in even in the whole couple, they always manage the finance, and they send their husbands make business, but they take care of the finance.
What's like in France? Does like a man take more charge than the woman in the house?
No, I think now you have like this equality system in France. So I was not like in France for a long time, but I think it's quite equal now.
Business-wise, does people more of like relax and like I have enough money, so it's okay. I don't have to be rich or working so hard, like building any business. Is it that like
it's quite rare actually. When you start like a career in France, and you have like you buy your own house, you make like a credit. You don't want to. It kills the entrepreneurship project like forever because you have.
What do you mean? I don't follow.
Because you have like a credit on the house, you have 2 kids.
Mortgage.
Like mortgage, you don't want to take the step to build your own business because if it's a failure, it's like a disaster. So the risk is very, very high. If you have responsibility, kids, family, I think the risk is very
But that's the same in China. What do you think makes people in China willing to take more risk on that?
It's the same, but it's different as well because the way you guys do business, it's a lot of time involves also the family. For example, like raising money. If you want to raise money in France, if you don't come from a wealthy family, you can only go see the bank. And if your bank statements are not good enough, then you're not raising money. In China, there's all you guys have big family and you can go find uncle and big brother. And like you find a way to make it happen, you know? Because you guys have like a way more, stick more together. So it's easier in that way. In France, if you're like a 25-year-old young guy whose family is not wealthy at all and has never worked and has a great idea, it's very hard for you to raise money. Whereas in China, I feel like it's much more easy.
In China, if you do well, that means your family like all proud of you. They will be like going out say like my niece or my nephew or my cousin is doing really well. They take that as their own glory. Does that apply in France as well?
This is everywhere. I feel like even me myself, I would be very proud if one day my small brother is or my nephew is very, very successful. You know.
If you're going them for money, they would be like, yeah. They were just willing to take the glories.
Yeah, it's different. Like even among family, it's I don't know you guys, but it's not so common to ask for money like to your uncle or to start a business. To start a business is very uncommon to just borrow money from them. Yeah.
Okay, so last question. Is it easier to access to success in China than in Europe?
I would say like the example of entrepreneurship are like quite rare also in China, and you have to admit that 95% of the business like are like not working so well. So you have to be smart about it and find the good opportunity.
That's a very politically right answer. Like I answered something, but I didn't really answer anything. Okay, actually, one last question. I'm really curious about how do you guys see China now, or like the future of China? Because I do know that, you know, like recently I have been putting a lot of videos about China online, and a lot of people accuse me like she must be paid by the government. She's like speaking so good about China. Like we don't believe that, right? So as a foreigner, like you lived in China for so many years, like what is your honest opinion about the life in China, the future in China? Do you encourage foreigners come to China, seek for like business? Like guys, seriously, we're not paid by anything, like by any form, okay? This is just like we meet together because I know Jamor for many years. And so I come back and he invited me to this next restaurant which they just opened, and then we were like, let's just do some like authentic interview, just talk about something about building a business, because I am like personally very curious. That's why we're sitting here today doing this interview. It has nothing to do with anybody else except the four of us. Okay, so let's talk about China.
I think if your audience is people who haven't been to China, the last thing you want to talk about is business. Because if you start speaking about business, they will be like, oh, but they can block your money and for yes or... So I think what I tell to my friend is same thing. I have lots of friends who have like preconception about China, and they are really not aware of what life is. It's like I tell them, just come. I think the Chinese government is doing a great job at opening more and more the borders to European countries. Now you can come without visa and stuff, and just come and see the life for yourself. And I had 4 friends who came, and 4 of them didn't want to go back. So
Yeah.
I think it's something you have to experience. It's not for everyone. Like, of course, it's the taste. You know, like some people will like it, some people will not like it. But just to see this big, great country like emerging and growing, you have to see it for yourself. Because it's in terms of modernity, in terms of infrastructure, services. Like the way I see it is that we are 10 years ahead of Europe. You know, in terms of
You already use we. We are 10 years
like yeah, I
ahead
mean
of
China,
Europe.
you know, like as a whole is like it's completely different. It's completely it has its bad side as well, but
Can we talk about the bad side?
you know, I'm a positive guy. He's the negative guy. He will answer the bad side.
No. So actually, of course, you have some bad sides. But when you come back, like in France, and your friends really like talk about the negative side, it forces you, even if you don't really want to tell all the positive things about China, because you want to balance, you know, every time. So
And most of all, the Chinese people are very how to say
friendly,
accueillant, friendly,
super welcoming,
super welcoming, and that's one of the main reason why I really like China. Is because they make you feel, even someone you don't know. You see, earlier we had lunch with some friends. I never met them, and after 2 hours they were really good friends.
Yeah.
So there are not a lot of places where you feel like this.
You know, I have been travel like around for about 4 years now. So now I come back every few months. But the first time when I come back to China, that was like after I've been traveling around for 3 years. So I haven't come back in 3 years. And then when I first come back, I was completely shocked. Because if you go from here, like Tianfu, Arjie, right, to the south, when I was still living in China, everywhere south from this point, it just empty because they were still developing. Even this street was like not many people here now, as of now. So I was quite shocked how they developed all the whole area and people slowly moved in.
Go so fast.
Yeah, exactly.
They can build so fast. So I arrived 7 years ago. You too.
It's huge difference in 7
The metro
years.
was line 1. And not fully open, like a few stations. And now we arrive at
19.
18 something.
and we were going to Byanca and dancing on nightclub like that.
What is that?
We were
Oh,
going
yeah,
to
yeah.
Byanca dancing like in
Yeah.
you know, these old-fashioned nightclubs.
Yeah.
Now you have cocktail bars.
Now you have like
everywhere.
so many different rounds already.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
business, yeah. I think that is another. Actually, that is the best side of building business here in China, because just so many competitions.
No, but like I told you before, you have to really pick the trends, because the trends can come up. Everybody will do this business, and after it will disappear.
Yeah.
Like for example, like some people try to do only natural wines and stuff. No, it doesn't work. So after 2 years, you have to switch to something else.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Because I had
Shisha business now.
shisha business.
You need to be
Really?
ready. It's going so fast as well.
Yeah.
So many, another one every day. New one every day.
That's insane. Also the coffee culture.
Coffee, now it's a bistro as well.
Bistro, exactly.
That's why I think if you are very smart and you can feel the trend, then definitely take it. But as for us, like I don't think we are following any trend. We try to give the people a very good service, good quality food, good environment, and just spend a good time. Whether the bistro trend keep going or falls down, doesn't matter to us. Actually.
Is it also important to combine online brand as the physical store?
Chinese social media now are so big that you have to, even if you don't like it, you must do it, and you must try to use it as a tool to promote and make your business work. But
also Chengdu is so big, nobody will walk and just pick one restaurant. They know in advance which restaurant they will go. So
you know, that's a big difference for us to understand. It's like when you are in Paris, you just walk and see a place and say, "Oh, okay, it looks good. Let's go." In Chengdu and in China as well, people go out with a plan. Like they know where they're going. They don't just randomly walk and
Yeah. Well, the city is too big
It's
to
too
walk
big.
around.
it's too big. So you have to be online. You have to be on the Meituan, Dianping, Xiaohongshu, a bit everywhere, and try to have a good brand image so that people are curious enough to come.
In Europe, you have TripAdvisor, right? That is the main app you
we
use.
Have many actually.
Okay.
Actually, people don't use TripAdvisor. There are
Oh,
more.
okay.
TripAdvisor is more like for hotel and stuff like this. People
Alright.
book, but
What is,
for restaurant is La Fourchette. C'est quoi?
Fourchette, yeah.
La Fourchette.
Specific French.
It's like we have specific app. It's like you guys Dianping basically,
Okay.
but we have a few.
Okay.
But even this, it's not as big as in China. You know, it's.
But also as a restaurant, like sometimes, like for example, Dianping, and even like in France, like the French version of Dianping feel like a dictature for restaurants.
What is that?
It feels like a dictature for the
I
restaurant.
don't understand.
How do you say?
Eh,
I mean, I would never have the idea in France to rate automatically a
Okay.
restaurant, like because it's a choice to go. So even if you are a bit disappointed, like always, like comment, and so we have to take care about that. We are lucky because we have good rates, but to always rate the restaurant everywhere you go, it's a bit.
like in France, we
Different
listen to people who rate who's the job. You have people whose job is to go and try restaurants. Now with those apps, you just give everyone
Yeah.
the power to rate, to give maybe a very bad rating, and to show it online. You know?
Yeah, that's actually pretty frustrating because me myself was managing a few F&B places before,
Yeah.
like restaurants, bars, lounges, and whenever people give you like 3-star or 3.5-star, you're always like, oh, why? Like, what did I do
Yeah, you
wrong?
take it
You try to make it
personally,
up,
yeah,
and
yeah,
you
yeah.
just like so much energy goes into it. Even if you have like 10 very good 5-star reviews, and then they give you like 1 and 3.5, you're like, oh, what did I do wrong?
Let's do the same with your video.
Well, now I'm like, oh, I'm all right.
Doesn't
I'm
have
right
any
now.
hater.
Yeah, I don't have that many. Not that many. Maybe like 1%, which I'm lucky. So, okay. Anything else we would like to add on? Or that's
You still cannot drink.
Sorry?
You still cannot drink.
I never drink.
Or never?
I can have a glass of wine. That's it. Yeah, I don't like drinking. I hate drinking. So you cannot make money out of me. No way. Maybe food.
Actually, the best margin for us is mocktails. So.
Mocktails. Okay, mocktail I could do. Okay. Hey, you wanna join the conversation? The dog is here. All right. Okay. So I guess that's it. Yeah. Maybe next time when I come back we can do the second round. All right. Thank you guys.
No
Thank
problem.
you.
See you. Ciao.
Ciao.
Bye.
Okay, that was great. That was great. Let's do a thumbnail.